Today I will be talking about something different, something dark. You see, there are unforgivable curses in cooking. Things that we do not speak about. The dark side of cooking that nobody should ever do. You must learn what these curses are, these unforgivable curses, because knowledge is power, and the more you know, the easier it is to defend against them.
Yeah, so welcome to 86th. I am going to be talking about unforgivable curses today. Now, the reason why I called these unforgivable curses is because they are things that you pick up on from other people that are doing these things, and they are things that will get you fired or potentially get somebody very sick, and they are not something you are supposed to do. So why, if you're not supposed to do them, am I going to talk about them today? Here's the scenario. You're new, you are training with somebody's training you on Fry Station. They make a thing of chicken tenders. There's 5 chicken tenders in an appetizer. They drop 5 tenders. It gets done. It takes between 7 to 9 minutes, depending on how thick the tenders are. If you got to throw them back in, whatever. They get done with the tenders, and they go to put them in they take the basket out. They go to put it in the bowl. And for some reason, one of them sticks to the end of the basket a little bit, and it falls on the floor. They can't serve 4 tenders. They have to serve 5 tenders. So the options are drop a new tender, lie to the server and say it's almost ready. It'll be about 2 more minutes. And then when the new chicken tender is done that you took out of the freezer drawer, then you add it to the rest of the tenders while keeping the rest of them, the other 4, like in the window or something like that, or maybe flash them back in the fryer to kind of heat them back up a little bit, right? So that's what you would do in a normal scenario like this. But what this guy does is a little different. He drops the chicken tender on the floor, and he picks it up off the floor and throws it in the fryer basket and dunks it for 30 seconds. And he says, I'm going to sanitize this. It's fine if you do it that way. Nobody's going to know, whatever, not a big deal. And so now the customer indeed got their food faster than if you would have dropped a new tender. But this was an unforgivable curse because you don't serve food off the floor. And this is the kind of thing that I'm going to be talking about today. You don't do this in a restaurant for multiple reasons. First off, it's gross. You know, if you're at your house and you do something kind of underhanded or weird or whatever, and you do that there, that's for your own consumption. It doesn't matter what you do. Maybe you do throw your chicken breast away. I don't know. I wouldn't do it as long as it was for myself. Even if I was cooking for my family, I wouldn't do it for them. So a lot of times what they will say is that they are sanitizing the product because the oil is really hot. So any bacteria will get cooked off in the fryer. But what about dog shit? What happens when someone tracked dog shit into the kitchen and the chicken tender fell and there's little, whether it's microscopic or very small, pieces of dog shit and hair and other gross stuff on the floor, dirt, little chunks of glass, whatever. Now you have sterilized dog shit. You have sterilized glass. You have sterilized hair, dirt, old grease from the day is now in the fryer and on that chicken tender, and you're going to now serve it to somebody. This is why it's an unforgivable curse. Raw chicken, beef, anything that's wet that will adhere to the floor and like take up all of that nastiness. Absolutely not. 100% of the time. Doesn't matter. Take the L. It's expensive. It sucks. Take the L. Don't serve it. Now, the next one is a little minor. It's taking the burnt side of food and flipping it over and putting it on the plate and making it look like it's normal when it's very much not normal. You burnt the steak. They paid a lot of money for that steak. Like, that's steak's expensive. Doesn't matter where you go. You know, like even in Texas, it's not as expensive as like California, but you're still paying a decent amount of money for now burnt food that somebody took and flipped over on the plate. So they do this. It looks nice, right? It's probably still overcooked. And you're just thinking to yourself, well, whatever. I don't know. I don't want to redo the steak. They ordered it mid-well and I burnt shit out of one side. Whatever. They can just fucking eat it. And you put it on the plate upside down or backward or whatever. I don't mean like one side looks a little better. I mean like you messed it up. Like it's bad. So you put the burnt side down and it goes out. And you think to yourself, okay, well, as long as they don't complain about it, who cares? That's not how customer complaints work. Maybe about 1% of people actually complain about things that they get. But that burnt steak is one of several minor issues that they may have that will cause them to not come back. And I know the situation is I'm a worker, I don't care, I just get my paycheck whether or not that customer comes back, right? But part of this channel is helping you become a better line cook through soft skills and through having like heart to hearts like this. If you want to be a better cook, if you want to be a cook lead, a sous chef, an executive chef, whatever, that mentality has to change. Because when you're an executive chef and you're not making revenue in the restaurant, you're losing money, you get replaced. Sous chef, they catch you doing this underhanded stuff, you get in more trouble. The cook doesn't get in trouble. You get in trouble because that happened on your watch. These little things, like the guest, you don't know what kind of experience that guest is having or what kind of a day that guest is having. That guest could have come in because of wanting comfort food because they are going through a breakup and now they have burnt steak. Okay. Maybe they'll come back. Maybe they won't, whatever. It contributed to them having a bad day. They come in, they notice the floors are a little dirty. The servers haven't like been keeping up on the lobby floors. The bathroom, they go to use the bathroom and the toilet's clogged. And then they get this burnt steak and they notice it, they look at it, whatever. They see that it's messed up. Yes, some people will do Yelp reviews. Some people will say, excuse me, my steak is a little overcooked. It looks like it was, they put that side, whatever. I would do that if it was burnt. If you burnt the crap out of my steak and I paid like $35 for the steak, I'm sending it back because I want I paid for correct food. But most people will eat it or eat what they can of it, and then they just don't come back. Their review is their silence and them no longer patronizing the restaurant. And you do that enough times, the restaurant develops a reputation because they don't talk to you about it. They talk to their best friend, Jordan, about, dude, the Jordan is thinking about taking their family out for a nice meal. And they suggest that restaurant that you're working at. And he's like, dude, I'm going to be honest. Like I went there and like they were not taking care of that restaurant. And they served me. They tried to cover up this like burnt steak. Like they burnt the shit out of it. And then they tried to serve it to me anyway. Like I wouldn't, like if you're going for a nice visit, I'd go to this other restaurant. They do a really good job. They have this really nice, whatever dish they have. I would go there instead. This other place, like it's not that great. Like it's nothing to write home about. They don't talk to you about it. They talk to their friends. You get negative word of mouth advertising because of this kind of stuff. The next one is throwing a steak in the fryer or the microwave to cook it faster or to thaw it out, or as an FU to somebody that ordered it well done. Don't do that. Same reason as before. You may think that things are fine and the customer doesn't notice or doesn't say anything, but they just don't come back. Their steak is rubbery and chewy and disgusting. They can taste the fryer grease on it. Maybe most customers won't know it went in the fryer, but they know something is off because they've had ribeye before and it did not taste like this, right? But they don't want to go to the server and have some nebulous complaint about my ribeye, like it just tasted different. Like it sounds whiny, so a lot of times they won't say that, but again, they won't come back. just cook the steak the right way. First off, the guest knows that if they order a well-done steak, it's going to be a wow. You order a 8-ounce filet, that's a 30-minute minimum solo ticket. And if the restaurant is busy, you're looking at a lot longer because it takes a long time. People like that throw these things in the fryer or the microwave. They say, what does it matter anyway if they're going to eat it or whatever? I get paid the same, whatever excuse they make. So why does it matter if the steak just sits there longer? If it takes a little bit longer to cook on the grill and then go in the rationale for a little bit, 20% steam, finish it off. What's the problem? You're working these stations and you're in charge of telling people when they can fire something. You have a pasta primavera, you have a well done filet, and you have like a shrimp scampi or whatever, and a salmon, whatever. The pacing is based off of the grill. The grill gets a well done filet. Everybody has this knowledge that a well done 8-ounce filet is going to take a long time to cook. So once it gets close, you get it as close as you can on the grill. You put it in the rationale. You say, hey, you're going to want to fire the shrimp Alfredo in X amount of time, or the shrimp scampi or whatever. Whatever, based on what you said. Hey, I put the filet in. It's going to be about 15 minutes in the rationale. Just giving you a heads up. And then they go heard, and then they make their food, based off of that. You may as well, if you're going to work in a kitchen, you may as well just do it right, Next one's kind of a funny one, and I'm actually guilty of this too. You're not going to get fired for doing this, but it just kind of pisses the servers off a little bit. New servers don't really catch on for a while. People that have been experienced working front of house know exactly what I'm about to say. That's telling the server that it's going to be done in 2 minutes, when in fact, they reminded you of that ticket. You didn't do it. You forgot, right? 2 minutes. They usually do this. They come up and they put their arms in the window and they try to like read the back of the tickets to see if they can see like table 7 or whatever. And hey, how much longer on table 7? It'll be about 2 minutes. I'm working on it right now. And then they leave and you grab the ticket as the wheel guy and put it up. Say, hey, I need a rush on table 7. And then you do it. It's not going to take 2 minutes. It's going to take longer than that. The server's not going to come back in 2 minutes. They have other shit to do. Then the food comes up and you call it out or whatever. That one's not going to get you fired. Like I said, it's just a funny one. I guarantee nearly every cook has done this at least one time in their life. And if they haven't, they're lying. Next one will not only get you fired, but could potentially get somebody killed. And that one is using baking soda to cover up spoilage. This works, and it works a little too well. You get that chicken, and it's the only chicken left, and it's got an odor to it. And they throw a bunch of baking soda and they mush it around in the bag and they let it sit for a while. The smell goes away, but it doesn't make it not spoiled. I won't say where I got this from, but just know it's a thing. And you need to know this because if you're ever in a leadership position and you catch a cook doing this, now you know why they're putting baking soda in their food. It's because that food is rotten and they're trying to cover it up. And honestly, if this is a normal practice where you go, you started there and it's only been a few days and you see somebody sprinkling baking soda on the chicken or whatever it is, that should be your last day at that restaurant because that's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. Spoilage is spoilage. Covering up the odor of the spoilage doesn't make the bacteria go away. This next one can also cause a lot of problems, is taking the food from an incorrect order or food that went out to the wrong table and just turning around and sending that food then to the right table. So one other scenario is you make a steak dinner. The steak dinner goes out to the table and they decide they don't like that steak. They didn't want it. It's the wrong one, whatever. It comes back and you turn around and send that steak now to the correct table, or a dish comes back because of whatever reason, and you pull elements of that dish off to make it faster to send to another table. You 100% never do this. Not only is this a health code violation, but you don't know anything about what happened to that food while it was out there and while the server wasn't watching it. You also don't know whether or not this person was sick. And I will tell you right now, there are customers that do really screwed up crap to the food. There are people that will put things inside the bottles. Some places will use they'll leave ketchup bottles. People will like put stuff in there. People will unscrew the lids of the salt and pepper shakers. There are customers that are just really sick people. So you don't know what they did to that steak. And it sucks to say that there are people like that in the world, but there are. There's some pretty nasty people in the world. If any food comes back for any reason and it went out to the table, it left the kitchen, it's done. That's the order that goes. It comes back, it goes in the trash, or the server and the cook sneakily goes and eats it. They crouch down, behind the line and like shoves their face full of like the Cubano that came back or whatever. You probably have done that before. The next unforgivable curse is 86ing something because you don't feel like making it. This is one of those things that you will not get in trouble for it unless you get caught. Maybe one of the managers is a little more lax than they should be. Maybe they never come back on the line. They don't check stuff. You still have 5 orders. The scenario for something like this is it's getting close to the end of the night. A 5 top comes in. 3 of them order well done steaks. Those 8-ounce fillets I was talking about before. You're like, Jesus, we close in 30 minutes and now I have to babysit these steaks. We're out of filet. It's the end of the night. We're out of filet. Have them order something else. And at that point, it's plausible. It's at the end of the night. Maybe we're out, but we're not. And this goes to just not being a douchebag, right? They came in, they ordered their food. Just make the food. It really, like, you can clean up the rest of the line while the steaks are going, or while whatever dish you're making. One thing that we used to do is we would have the flat top cleaned. We would clean the flat top like almost an hour early. And then when we would get orders, we would just make it on saute instead because, the dishwashers can handle the saute pans, or maybe we would scrub them if the dishwasher was already gone. So you get an order for a quesadilla. Well, we got big ass like 18-inch well, probably not 18-inch skillets, but we have big ass skillets that can fit the quesadillas on there. So you do one pan, kind of do up the chicken a little bit, and then the other pan, get the quesadilla going, fold it over, whatever. And it's fine. It doesn't hurt anything. It's the same thing. It's still butter in the pan, grilled the quesadilla up, or not grilled, but you know what I mean. And the customer's happy. You didn't do anything bad, and the flat top is still clean. Boom. Problem solved, right? It's there's ways that you can get around some of this stuff while still remaining like ethical. You know what I mean? Like that saute thing. There are things that you can do that will benefit yourself to help you get out earlier, but also not be like an ultra douchebag and just tell people that we're out of things that we're not out of. The next unforgivable curse is washing your hands in the Sandy bucket. It does not do what you think it does. So your hands should be washed at a hand washing station with soap, dried properly with paper towels. You get an order for chicken. You're really busy. You don't go put a glove on. Your hand's a little wet. You know it's going to be a pain in the ass. You just reach in, grab the raw chicken, put it on the flat top, and then you put your hand in the Sandy bucket and go like that. And then like dry it with the like nasty towel that was sitting on the cold bar. And then you're like, oh, it's clean. It's not clean. And you probably didn't do it right or good enough. And now there's chicken crap on the towel, and that towel is sitting on the cutting board. And now the cutting board's contaminated, and anything you touch is contaminated, because that's not what Sandy buckets are used for. You can't just dunk your hand in there or throw knives and stuff. Just wash them correctly. Like, come on. Is there a chance that dunking your hand in the Sandy bucket will actually sanitize your hands? There's a chance. But I'm going to make a prediction right now that Sani bucket has been there longer than 2 hours. And it's got all kinds of crap in it from wiping the stuff down. And that Sani bucket hasn't been tested. And you needed a new one forever ago because the quality of the sanitation of that chemical goes down over time. So when you wash your hands in the cold, nasty Sani water, chances are that it's ineffective, for one thing, and you're just going to be spreading germs. It's just, don't do it. There's no point. There's a reason why health code requires hand sinks to be in certain locations in the kitchen. And that's to give you an easy access and easy opportunity to just go quickly wash your hands. A lot of sinks have those little things where you like hit them with your hip or your foot or whatever. And you just, boom, wash your hands, get some soap, blah, 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 done. Like, no one's gonna talk shit about you washing your hands correctly. And you know what? You're not even saving as much time as you think you are anyway. Like, you're doing the same thing. You're just staying on the line. And it may be one of those things like there may be somebody out there that watches this and goes, I've been doing that for years and it's not been a thing. I don't care. 10 years goes by without getting somebody sick. And yeah, good for you. But that doesn't mean it's not going to happen in the 11th year. And if you send somebody to the hospital for E. coli, you still sent somebody to the hospital with E. coli. Even if they don't necessarily like realize it was the restaurant or there wasn't some massive outbreak because people are doing the baking soda thing I talked about earlier. I have a question for you. What unforgivable curses have you seen in the kitchen? I would love to know in the comments below. And also, if you found value in this video, I'd appreciate a like. Totally awesome. Likes allow me to understand whether or not this content or the things that I'm doing are things that you actually want to see and that I'm actually providing value to you. So vote with your likes. Let me know in the comments below if you want me to cover anything else. If you have any other suggestions for content ideas, I'm always open to that. That helps me out tremendously. But otherwise, you guys have an awesome day, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.